Hey guys, my name is Julia, I'm a painter and 3D artist, and welcome back to my CGbird channel. I posted a video about my model on my channel last week. I made render and animation in Blender 2.8. You can find a link to this video in the description. So I decided to make a tutorial about it in Blender. It will be a very good tutorial, even a beginner will be able to surprise his friends with beautiful renders. Are you ready? Let's do it! So this is my 3D scene, my model, and I have my video about this model on my channel. Link I will leave in the description. Today I will tell you about material, I will tell you a little about maps, how you can use it. I think my model is a good example. In that case you will understand how to use maps, light. I will show you how HDR Texture work. I will explain you about camera, about settings, how to make cool render. If you are a beginner, you will learn a lot definitely. And now I'm gonna explain a little about material. WingFox is an online learning platform, excellent content created by excellent artists. CG and VFX, game art, graphic design, concept design, animation, environment design, film production, industry design and photography. You will be able to find lessons in those areas from real professional artists. Namely the course The Lost Soldier with now discounted 63%. You are sure to like. From the concept of the artist Alexander Skold, he works now at Ubisoft. 11 hours of study material step by step, and you learn the whole process of creating a concept, environment, 3D modeling, texture, light and rendering. In this course you will study, refine asset sketches, 3D model the asset, 3D book out the scene, create materials in Blender, light and render the scene, prepare and composite the render in Photoshop. This is your class. Here you can see the details of the course. In the content tab you will find all the lessons, the planet in stages, also very interesting tab discussion. You can publish your work or communicate with other students. Resources. You can download material from the course, namely 3D models and PSD files. If you dream of being a 3D environment artist like me, this course will help you learn a lot of new scenes. Also, you can send your renders, models to the author of this course, he will provide you with feedback. You can ask your question, it's a very convenient platform for learning. You can watch the trailer and the description of this course on the website WingFox. Follow the referral link in the description to this video and enjoy learning with WingFox. So, we have Viewport Shading, it's that window, and we have for option. First it's wireframe, I can see just my topology. The next is solid, just like gray color. The next is material preview. I can see my material but without light. In fact, I can see my light, I just look on the model how works this material. The next is a render. So it's finally my 3D scene. I can see my HDR texture, it's around, and I can see how work my texture. So we have Eevee and Cycle render. Now we can see how work Cycle render. But I'm gonna delete my HDR texture to explain how it will look. I can see just this terrible color, and it can be just black, it can be like that. So let's talk about material, and then I will tell you about HDR texture, how to edit. So I have my window. I wanna choose shade editor, so when I choose my model, go to the tab material properties, and I can see my nodes. So I have basic color map, I have my metallic, roughness, normal and height. So when I go to the tab rendering or shading, it's a good tab too. We have already HDR texture here and we can see how it works. So I can see my material with bump, with roughness, and everything is very good. So you can use just, if you want to render your model like in the basic color with gray or something, you can add your material in window material properties, click plus, new, and you can choose your color, for example that. Then you have to select your edges and a seek. Go to the tab material or render, material is better, and you can see your color. So for example it can be black or white, it doesn't matter. But if you wanna render your model with material, for example my model have maps, my model have good material, I made my material in Substance Painter and connect this in Blender. So I have my texture, I have to add light. I can do it like Shift A, light and point or something else, but I wanna add HDR Texture. It will look better. For that I go to World Properties and I have my surface background and color. Color I can choose Environment Texture or I can choose Image Texture. If I wanna add HDRI texture, I have to choose Environment Texture. Then I open my HDRI texture and go to the tab Viewport Shading, Render. Now I can see how it works. It looks great, and I have to add camera. Shift A, camera. Shift A, camera. So I have my camera in 3D scene. I have go to tab View, Cameras and Set Active Cameras Object. My camera doesn't look good. I mean, I can see my model just apart. I have to change that. Also, I can use hotkey 0 on my numpad to this section, so it worked good. Now I wanna explain about camera settings. It's too important to have a good render. So for the start, I go to the tab View, Navigation, Block Navigation, View, click the right mouse button and change shortcut. For example, Shift plus F. So now I can see that my hotkey Shift plus F. When I use this hotkey, I can move my camera like in real world or in games or in something else. Basically, it's not enough. So when you wanna choose your angle, you have click Shift plus F and move around. But you have to change something. You have to select your camera and camera lens angle. Now you can choose your size, for example 20. You can use your numbers or what you like the most. I think 20 is well enough for me. So Shift plus F, and now I can choose my angle. So yeah, it looks great. What about size? To change that, I go to Render Properties. So now I'm gonna tell you about render properties. In general, I use two render engine. It's Eevee and Cycles, the most popular here. Eevee it works like that, it's real-time render, and Cycle. Cycle it's... So if you wanna have a really cool render, it would be better to use Cycle because it's more realistic. I have good color, I have better than in Eevee. But if you wanna render something like a long animation movie or something, it will take a lot of time, so Eevee it would be better to use for it. So I can choose Cycle or Eevee, it doesn't matter now. The next part, for example, I wanna use Cycle. I can choose my device, CPU or GPU. It means that if I have a good graphics card, I can use that for render. So we can see that we have a lot of different settings here, and you can change your size and a lot of interest, and so you can check it yourself. The next part I want to share that you can choose your size of your render. So it can be like that, or if you need a square render, you just need to change that size. So like I had before. The next part, you have your frame. It means that if you wanna render your animation, you have your frames. So it can be 60 or 20. You can see that it changes that. And it means that your animation will start with first frame and end in 60. Also, you can change your frame rate. It can be 24 or 60, or you like the most. The next important part is file format. You can choose the format of your render. So it can be like image. Blender have a lot of different format, or it can be like movie. It means if you want to render your animation like a movie, we have 3 options here, and it will help you to save your render like MP4 or like a video. I can save my animation in my folder. So now it looks good, and I want to make my render. I have my camera material, I have my light, and everything looks cool. So then I have go to tab render and render image. Now I'm using cycle render. It looks like that with square, and I have to wait few minutes to finish that render. So I can save my image like image, save as, and save image. But Eevee will be work much faster. So render, image render, and I have my result. But we can see the difference between 2 images. It looks different, definitely. It's good way to get your cool render, but in the future you will use compositing window. In that window you can correct your render and see how your scene work. If you are beginners, it will be enough for you for the start. And now I'm gonna tell you how animate your model or how animate your camera. For the start, I'm gonna animate camera. So numpad 0, and we have our image. For the start, you have to click this automatic keyframe, and I wanna change this number to 250. It means that I will have 250 frames. To start animate your camera, you have to click spacebar on your keyboard. So let's do it. I have to click spacebar and move my camera. So I will click Shift plus F and my spacebar. So let's go. So spacebar and Shift F. Now you can see that I have my keyframe and I have my animation. And now I can start my animation with 64. So, and for example, add my animation and 255. But I have to add something. For that, click the right mouse button and vertical spline. Then I can add one window. I need to add graph editor. It will help me a lot. So I have to move my camera to first frame, Shift F, and I just move my camera the best angle. It looks great. So now I have to add my animation, then spacebar, Shift F, and I move my camera. Shift F. Then I will try again. Spacebar, Shift F, and I move my camera. So as you can see, I have my animation, but to be honest, it looks not so good, and now I will explain it to you. So I have to select my graph editor, all my keyframe, and then go to K and sample keyframes. It means that my animation will be smoother, but I have to change something, and now I will show you that. I will use hotkey Alt plus O. As you can see, this is changing. It works like a camera bracket to remove sharp camera movement. Have a really good animation and it looks like professional camera. That's great, I like it. I like this result. As I said before, you can save your animation like video. So when you click render and render animation, your animation will be rendered like a frame, but in the end it will video file. If you wanna save your animation like a frame, then you have to select your file format, for example JPEG. Your animation will save like frames in that format. So now you know how to animate your camera, but if you want to animate your model, you have to select your model, for example this cathedral, and go to the end. For example it will be 60 frames. And I can rotate my model. And now my model will rotate around this axis. If I want a slower animation, I have to add more frames. And you can move your frames. Just select your keyframe and move with KG. So now you have slow animation. You can animate light and you can animate all your objects. I hope this video will be useful and interesting for you. See you in my new video. It was your favorite CGbird channel.